any market, it's kind of confusing as to tell how much a house is worth or a condo or anything like that. So, with asking prices being low or high, how do you even know how much a property is worth? Hey there, it's Stephen Ho here with the Mister Sauga real estate team, and today we're going to do a little video on how I do a price analysis in today's market. So I'm going to take you a little bit through how I do a price analysis. Now, obviously, we look at recent sales comparables. In this situation, we're going to look at a condo here. We're going to look at two-bedroom condos in this particular building, and it's at 388 Prince of Wales Drive by Square One in Mississauga. And we're going to look at all the two bedrooms, two bathrooms that sold over the last year. Ideally, we want to keep it in the last 90 days because the market has changed. It changed significantly from December to January and January to February. You know, things move so fast and can change really quick. So it's hard to compare sales that have happened in previous months. But we want to keep it as close as possible. So with our price analysis, I'll take you a little bit through how I come about with it to kind of take those time changes into consideration. So for example, what I do is I take all these comparables here. I just put the unit numbers here, and I look at the sold price, the sold date, and more importantly, I take a look at the assessed value. The assessed value is what the government assesses your property as so that they can assess their municipal tax rate. That's how they come up with your annual property tax. So more or less, they know how big your unit is, how many bedrooms, bathrooms, etc. But they don't know the condition of the place. Is it renovated? Is it upgraded? Does it have a finished basement? Like things like that, or upgraded kitchen or floors or any particular upgrades. It doesn't take that into consideration. But what we're trying to do in this, so I look at this 2021 property assessment for each of these properties, and I plot them down here. And once I have all of that, I look at the sold price, and then I look at the sold date. And then what I try and do is time adjust for these properties. So in Mississauga, this is pulled from the Toronto Real Estate Board Market Watch, which is public information that comes out every single month. So this is for January, which came out in the beginning of February. We look at Mississauga. Apartments have gone up 3.14% from the same time last year. So that's what I did here. And then I just divided by 12 to come out per month. And then I multiply back out so I can see which month, if it's sold in August of last year, it has gone up a roughly 1.57%. So if that same unit came up for sale now, it would actually be worth around $597 at this current appreciation. So 588 in August, it should sell for 597 now. So I take a look at that. And then I also take a look at what our subject property is that we're interested in, whether we're thinking of listing or buying. What should we expect it to be sold for in today's market? So I pulled these numbers over here. So I look at the assessed values. Notice I do not look at the listing price because listing price doesn't really mean anything. It can be listed for $1, it could be listed for $2 million, but what is the market value? So this is kind of a basis that we can use that is more or less somewhat standard or filtered by the government. And what we do is I take the adjusted sold price, so time adjusted, I divide it by their assessed value to come up with the average value difference. So what is the market willing to pay for this type of property over the period of time? And the ratio is kind of what I'm looking at. So on average, out of all of these, we can average out, so to include all of them, average is about 1.7 times the assessed value. So then I take a look at our subject property, and then I multiply it back out. If it's at 1.7, on average, this property is probably worth 578 right now. Now, if they've done upgrades or whatnot, I can see like on the high range, this was the peak of the market in January last year. So even if we look at this, if this was, the market is super hot right now, this property is probably worth around 605. Now, if they have more upgrades or whatever, I can kind of justify it like that. Obviously, this is not rocket science or a perfected calculation, but this gives us a better idea of what the market is willing to pay. So taking a look at that, if I'm looking at if this is average condition, the market is kind of, neutral. This unit is probably worth closer to 578. And the chance to win, based on our current situation of how the market is moving, obviously condos are moving different than housing, but that's kind of taken it into consideration in our annual appreciation rate on the last page. But just taking a look at this, you can kind of get a pretty good gauge as to where the market value is for this type of property. So looking at all of these, there are some calculations that are in here. Essentially, it's just the time adjustment for um, for the time that has passed. Again, this wouldn't take into consideration how the market has changed. Now, obviously, the market from December to January was a significant difference. And in the condo market, it was pretty much when the second wave happened, which was around September, October. So also in the very beginning of the year, the market was super hot. So they were selling very high. And then in the summertime, it kind of came back. And then September, October, the market softened a bit again. And since January, February, the condo market's come back a little bit. So taking, it's hard to look at the comps, but you have to look at the last 3 months generally because you want to stay within the same market, or else the comparables aren't quite exact. And obviously, we're trying to look at the same building, so there's less variables in terms of how the market values from building to building. You can say from neighborhood to neighborhood or type of property. So if you're looking at a house, if there's a garage or not, that changes things. If it's a finished basement or 3 bedroom or 4 bedroom, that changes things. So you want to select as close comparables as possible. And then I run the price analysis here that gives us a little bit clear idea of how much it would actually be worth. So if you're looking to sell or looking to buy, good luck out there. The market's moving very fast and there's a lot of information out there, but you need to find someone who can help you navigate through these uncertain times. So if you have any questions, I'm here to help, and hope you're staying safe and healthy, and we'll see you next time.